Hi, I'm Jim Gordon and you're watching Market 1 Minute. Joining us is Christopher Moreau, CEO of Algernon Pharmaceuticals. Christopher, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
You're quite welcome. Okay, tell us about Algernon's business model.
Algernon Pharmaceuticals is a clinical stage drug development company. Our unique business model is focused on drug repurposing. Drug repurposing is trying to find new uses for older, safer drugs that have become generic. Most drugs have what's known as a polypharma effect in the body. That means doing more than one thing. And our model is focused on compounds that have never been introduced into the US or Europe. This is a very capital efficient model. The risk is dramatically reduced and the speed to market to take a drug that's already approved is dramatically reduced compared to a new chemical entity.
Christopher, my next question is a two-parter. Why can your lead drug, ifenprotal, be a potential treatment for COVID-19? And what is the most important animal data that Algernon has seen to suggest that?
So our lead drug is a drug called ifenprotal. It was initially developed by Sanofi in the early 1970s. It's generic. We filed new intellectual property rights around the drug for respiratory disease. This drug treats neurological conditions in Japan and South Korea, vertigo and dizziness. Our lead scientists determined that because it's an NMDA receptor antagonist, that it would not only affect cells in the brain, but also in lung tissue. And his view was that it could reduce fibrosis. We investigated ifenprotal for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis and chronic cough. We went up against the two leading treatments for humans, one by Boehringer and the other by Roche. And our drug ifenprotal outperformed and reduced fibrosis in the animal model beyond that of those two comparators. But what really got our attention was this independent study of ifenprotal by a group of Chinese scientists studying H5N1. H5N1 has a 60% mortality rate. COVID has a 1 to 3% and has shut down the economy. And in one arm of the study where they infected the mice with H5N1, every mouse died. In the other arm where they infected the mice with H5N1 and then provided ifenprotal, 40% of the mice survived. And all of the other attributes, the reduction of acute lung injury and inflammation. So we think that is a very key piece of data, albeit animal. We felt that it was important to begin a clinical research development program to see if ifenprotal could reduce the severity and the duration of a COVID-19 infection.
Is ifenprotal an antiviral drug?
We don't know if ifenprotal is antiviral because we haven't investigated it. Our focus, based on our animal data, is that the drug is protective of the lung. To be an antiviral, some part of the drug's mechanism needs to interrupt the virus's replication. And we simply haven't focused on that. We don't know about the antiviral element, and it's something that we may investigate in the future, but the focus right now is as a therapeutic to protect the lung from the infection.
Tell us about the multinational phase 2b/3 study Algernon is planning for ifenprotal and COVID-19.
So our multinational phase 2b/3 study includes Canada, the US, and Australia. We have already received a no objection letter from Canada. We've filed for ethics approval in Australia, and we've received approval for a COVID-19 trial in the US with the US FDA. The trial will start out as a phase 2 with 100 patients. Once we have preliminary data, if we've hit our endpoints, we will then move the trial into a phase 3. The statisticians will decide just how powered that phase 3 portion has to be. We advise the regulatory authorities and we begin enrollment for the phase 3. And for those of you that aren't familiar with drug development, if you have positive phase 3 data, then the next step is to apply for market approval. So it's a very important trial for us. The study will be to see if we can reduce the severity and duration of a COVID-19 infection.
Last question for you. When is Algernon expecting to receive phase 2 data?
We would expect preliminary data sometime in the 3 to 4 month period following the start of the trial. Keep in mind, with 100 patients, enrollment won't happen on the very first day. We are trying to include study sites where they have enough patients that we can satisfy that minimum enrollment goal of 100 without any issues. And depending on when that final 100th patient is enrolled, you have a 2-week treatment period. Then all the data is aggregated and reviewed. So our estimate is somewhere in the 3 to 4 month range from the start of the phase 2, phase 3. If the data is positive, we'll seamlessly move it up and begin enrollment for the phase 3 portion.
Christopher, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Hi, I'm Jim Gordon. Thanks for watching this Market 1 Minute on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with other videos that we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click on this list to see other great videos from Market 1. And thank you again for watching.